Welcome to this week's episode of Learning the White House 101. Today we will focus on the White House staff. Now there are more than 1,500 employees of the White House, with almost 400 being staff members in the White House, ranging from chief chimney sweep to chief decorator. Today we have with us the White House staff assigned to Obama that he himself hand-selected.
Wait, you mean we have the cool kids on our show?
Yes we do. Now enjoy the show.
The Chief of Staff is the highest-ranking employee of the White House office inside the Executive Office of the President of the United States. Some of his responsibilities include structuring the White House staff system, controlling the flow of people into the Oval Office, managing the flow of information to the President, protecting the interests of the people, negotiating with Congress and other members of the executive branch to implement the President's agenda, advising the President on various issues, whether it be personal or political. So in other words, this is the president's best friend.
I graduated from St. John's University in Collegeville, Minnesota, and have a master's from Georgetown University. I live in Maryland with my wife, Carrie, and 3 children. I was the senior advisor on foreign policy issues on President Obama's 2008 campaign, and I also worked in Congress as a foreign policy advisor. But I was too good for Congress, so I moved up to the White House. There I began the position of Deputy National Security Advisor. I was also the Chief of Staff of the National Security Staff, and as the Deputy National Security Advisor for Strategic Communications. I then assumed the role of Chief of Staff in February 2013. The Deputy Chief of Staff is the top aide to the White House Chief of Staff, who is the senior aide to the President of the United States. The Deputy Chief of Staff is in charge of making sure things run well in the White House, as well as doing any tasks they were assigned by the Chief of Staff. The Deputy Chief of Staff normally has an office in the West Wing. The current Deputy Chief of Staff are Rob Nabors and Alyssa Mastromonaco. So in other terms, the Deputy Chief of Staff is the friend you don't really like but keep around because they can do stuff.
The University of Notre Dame and then went on to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill for my master's. After that, I served in the Office of Management and Budget in a series of roles, including Senior Advisor to the Director and Assistant Director for the Administration and Executive Secretary. So you could say I was pretty important. I then went on to serve on the House Appropriations Committee. After finishing that position, I started to work my way up. I was the Deputy Director of the Office of Management and Budget, as well as the Senior Advisor to the Chief of Staff and Assistant to the President. I am now the Assistant to the President and Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. I have a degree in political science from the University of Wisconsin. I then went on to work as the Director of Scheduling for Senator John Kerry's presidential campaign in 2004, and before that was the press secretary for an important congressman. Then I got my big break and moved all the way up to Obama's office. I started as the Director of Scheduling, so basically OCD freak, and then became the political director for Obama's PAC. Now I am the Assistant to the President and the Deputy Chief of Staff.
The Counselor to the President is the highest-ranking assistant of the President and is a member of the Executive Office of the President. They assist the President and White House Chief of Staff with daily challenges of managing the White House staff. So this position is the one friend who thinks they're cool, but they really aren't.
I graduated from Knox College and then attended the Georgetown University for law school. I then went on to work as a trial attorney for the Department of Justice. I also held many positions on Capitol Hill, including Chief Counselor of the Senate Agricultural Committee. When I finally became a big boy, I moved up to be the Assistant to the President and the Deputy Chief of Staff for Clinton. Then Clinton screwed around in his office and I was dumb and helped execute the order to get him pardoned, so I got knocked down a couple notches to Counselor up to the President. The Senior Advisor has been used differently by the different presidents. Some use it more formally, while others don't have a set position. They are responsible for public liaison, political affairs, and really whatever else the President needs. The current Senior Advisors are Valerie Jarrett and Dan Pfeiffer. This position is the friend that you boss around and just takes it because they are too stupid to know otherwise.
I attended Georgetown, then got my master's from Stanford, then went to the University of Michigan for law school. I went on to practice in 2 private law firms. Previously, I was the Commissioner of Planning and Development for the City of Chicago and the Deputy Chief of Staff for Mayor Richard M. Daley. I joined the White House staff as Deputy Communications Director and became the Communications Director shortly after. Then I got to work under Obama by becoming the Traveling Press Secretary and later the Communications Director. I am now the Senior Advisor to President Barack Obama. I oversee the Office of Public Engagement and Intergovernmental Affairs and chair the White House Council on Women and Girls. So yeah, I'm an overachiever fighting my way to the top because I have the most credentials and I will rule the world one day. I graduated from Georgetown. I then went on to work for some impressive people like Al Gore and other dudes you've never heard of. Then Obama was like, hey, I want you. So I became the Traveling Press Secretary and later the Communications Director. Now I'm the Assistant to the President and Senior Advisor.
The White House Press Secretary is a senior White House official whose primary responsibility is to act as spokesperson for the United States and the White House. In times of crisis, they are responsible for putting out information and releasing statements. They collect information about actions and events within the President's administration and reactions of the administrations pertaining to issues that happen around the world. The Press Secretary interacts with the media and deals with the White House Press Corps on a daily basis, generally in a daily press briefing.
The White House Director of Communications is also known as the Assistant to the President for Communications and is part of the senior staff of the President. They are responsible for developing and promoting the agenda of the President and leading its media campaign. They work on developing speeches for the inaugural address and the State of the Union address. The Communications Director is usually given an office in the West Wing of the White House. I hope you enjoyed the show. Join us next week when we talk about the official maintenance team of the White House.
Bye!